Sorry about that. I had a family obligation to get to. But where I would leave off at, where I left off at was synthesis, connecting it all together. What these experiences taught me about myself. So what does it all mean for me as a reader, writer, and student? I've learned that reading and writing are interconnected strategic processes, not separate skills. When Mike Bunn talks about reading like a writer and Des Bender talks about moving from the personal to the academic, they're both teaching me the same lesson, that engaging deeply with the text makes me a better thinker and communicator. These SLOs and writing practices aren't separate boxes to check. They work together. For instance, my critical thinking about source required information literacy skills to evaluate them, like writing behavior. My communication choices depended on my rhetorical awareness, my writing behavior, and it's all connected in one way. I've also discovered something important about myself. I used to be a skimmer, as you know from the previous 10 minutes. I admitted it in my reflection. I heavily did skim, but through intentional practice with strategies like annotation and says does analysis, I become someone who can slow down and think deeply about text. That's not just an academic skill, that's a life skill. The work in this portfolio shows me that I'm developing strong analytical abilities and honest self-awareness, but I think I still need to work on consistency. Sometimes I still want to rush through readings and I have to remind myself to use my strategies. As I continue this semester, I'm still wondering how can I maintain these deep reading strategies when I'm overwhelmed with multiple assignments. I know annotation and critical reading work, but when I have readings due for 4 different classes, I feel pressure to skim again. How do I balance reading deeply with reading efficiently? Is there a way to strategically decide when to use which approach? How do I develop my own voice in academic writing while still following the conventions I'm learning? In my bibliography, I use pretty formal language, but in my reflection, my personality comes through more. I'm wondering, where's the line? Can academic writing sound like me, or do I always need to adopt this formal tone? How do professional scholars balance their individual voice with academic expectations? These questions will guide my learning for the rest of the semester, and I'm excited to explore them through future assignments. This portfolio represents more than just completed assignments. It's evidence of my transformation for someone who skimmed readings to someone who actively in, engages critically with text. I've learned that reading is an active strategic process and that awareness has made me a better reader, writer, and thinker.